Hello. Hi.
Namaskar.
Everyone. Welcome to Hindi University. Really excited to have all of you this Sunday. As you know, my name is Ashutosh, and we meet every Sunday, 8 a.m. US Pacific time to learn about the Hindi language. For those of you who are new to Hindi University, you can learn more about us by going to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Hindi University, one word. And if you're interested in joining the live classes we have every Sunday, you can get all the details on our page, which is tiny.cc/Hindi University. It's a one page where you have several tabs, and you can find all the details about the Zoom link that you can use this to join the Sunday classes, as well as the practice session that we have throughout the week at different time zones. You can get the entire schedule of Hindi University and the different level of practice sessions that we have. Also, the books that we've been following and the Discord channel, pretty much the entire access to the community, you can get all the information here. And if you missed any of the previous sessions, you can get information about that as well. As you all know, this year the goal is to kind of have a blended track for beginners as well as intermediate plus, and we've been following multiple books this year, and primarily a new book which we didn't cover in the previous year, which is the Elementary Hindi by Professor Richard Delacy. He's a Hindi professor at the Harvard University, and the goal for this class is to really go over chapter 11 that we started and then finish it up. My goal for this class is by the end of this class, you guys will be all. Last class we started a topic called time-based adverbs. Okay, and we looked at two categories of those. In this class, we'll finish the third category and we'll do a lot of practice around that. And you guys will all be forming smaller to relatively bigger Hindi sentences and try to use time-related adverbs in those sentences. Okay, so that would be the goal for this class. Any questions? Feel free to sort of ask questions. Right? I mean, it's the whole point is to basically make it interactive. So if you have questions, most likely other people will have it as well. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get started. We'll directly jump to the topic. Okay, so as you probably remember, when we spoke about adverbs, we gave a definition and some basics in the previous class. Okay, to give it a little bit, further illustration, we spoke about Hindi adverbs. Okay, adverbs are basically words that describes verbs, adjectives, as well as adverbs. Okay, how do they describe the verbs? So let's say you were to say she sings. Okay, and if you were to say further, she sings beautifully, it's describing how the person sings, right? That's so in this case, beautifully or loudly, this is an adverb. Similarly, if you were to say like an adjective, like very tall, tall is an adjective, but by saying very tall, you are describing the adjective. So very in this case becomes your adverb. Okay. Often adverbs end with ly in English, right? So in Hindi, there are also different ways to kind of come up with adverbs. Okay, in English you will say beautifully, fortunately, happily, carefully, easily. Okay, bunch of those. Okay, in essence, adverbs will help you answer the when, where, how, and how often kind of questions. And in the previous class, we were talking about when you have a situation where the question is being asked around when, kab. Okay, let's say the question was like when will when will you go to Paris? This is the question that is being asked to you. When will you go to Paris? In Hindi, you will simply say आप Paris कब, future indefinite, जाएंगे. आप पेरिस कब जाएंगे? The verb is जाना, to go, and for आप, you pronoun, you are removing the na and putting enge after that, right? So naturally, when you want to, this is the question that is being asked to you around when. Okay, you will need a time-based adverb to respond to this question. Okay, and we learned in the previous class, like how will you answer? You will say the question is asked to you, so you will say मैं. Your response to that, Paris जाऊंगा. I will go to Paris. Okay, you've not responded when, and this is what the whole discussion was in the previous class. Okay, if you were to simply say, if you Aneska ji, you have to help me. So let's say that we were talking about quickly about case one. How will you say, I will go to Paris today?
आज मैं पेरिस जाऊंगी.
Okay, मैं आज पेरिस जाऊंगी. Okay, so in the previous class we learned about two cases. I'm going to do a quick recap of both of them and we'll jump to the third case. Okay, so in this case we spoke about मैं आज पेरिस. She said मैं आज पेरिस जाऊंगी. Similarly, what else can you say? I went to I'll go to Paris tomorrow. How will you say that?
मैं कल पेरिस जाऊंगी.
Very good, right? Kal in this case is tomorrow. Okay, and Sunita ji, if you were to say I will go to Paris day after tomorrow.
मैं परसों पेरिस जाऊंगी.
Very good, right? So मैं परसों, which is day after tomorrow, मैं परसों Paris जाऊंगी. Okay, and Meeta ji, how will you say I will go to Paris every day?
मैं हर दिन पेरिस जाऊंगी.
Very good. You guys all remember, right? मैं हर दिन पेरिस जाऊंगी, right? I will go to Paris every day. मैं हर दिन पेरिस जाऊंगी. Okay. What else can we say in case number one? I will go to Paris again. Who will say? Donna ji, how will you say that? I will go to Paris again.
Again. I don't. Fear? No.
Yeah, very good. Fair.
Fear Paris जाऊंगी.
मैं फिर Paris जाऊंगी. Amazing, right? So this is all category one. If you notice, in none of them you are using any postposition after that. Okay, and all these words they remain as is. The form of these words remain as is. But that's not the case for all the time related adverbs. Some words, you change their form. Okay, and there is no rule per se. There's some general guidance around it. Okay, maybe, I mean, this is like the theory that maybe most of them they had they used to change form, but over time people stopped using the oblique forms or the postposition after that. Okay, we'll do a couple of more. If you want to say I'll go to Paris again and again, let's see who can do that. Delia ji, how would you say I'll go to Paris again and again?
I'm not sure. Is it bar bar?
Very good. Yeah, this is bar bar. Okay, the word is bar bar, which means again and again. For those of you who may not have heard of it, you can write down. Okay, bar bar. Okay, if somebody is annoying you again and again, वो मुझे बार बार परेशान कर रहा है. Right? You can say that. Let's just do one more. One day. Okay, we did in the previous class. Sheila ji, how will you say I'll go to Paris one day?
मैं एक दिन.
Very good. Right. So एक दिन. मैं एक दिन Paris जाऊंगी. Okay. Hopefully this is clear. Hopefully it's not like a rocket science for most of you. All we are doing is using time-based adverbs which are not changing any form, which are used as it is. Okay. Any questions on case one before we jump to case two? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. Or if you want to try any new words. Okay, right? So in case two is basically when you use the time-based adverbs, there is an implied postposition to that, which means, let me give you an example. Let's say you want to say, Next is, as you know, in Hindi is agla. Agla, right? So you will write as agla. And month in Hindi is, you know, is mahina. Mahina, right? So you have basically agla and then mahina. Okay. So when you were to say I will go to Paris next month, one question could be, can I say मैं अगला महीना पेरिस जाऊंगी और क्या मैं अगला महीना पेरिस जाऊंगा? But that's not how we use it. When we use these together, you know, you end up using the oblique form of it, and you will say मैं अगले महीने. So agla becomes agle and mahina becomes mahine. And this is nothing but an oblique form of the word, because there is an implied postposition, which is basically you're not saying it. You don't say that. You don't say मैं अगले महीने को पेरिस और अगले महीने में पेरिस जाऊंगा और जाऊंगी. And that's why you end up using अगले महीने. That's in the second category. Okay, let's say you want to say I will go to Paris next year. Scott G, how will you say that? I'll go to Paris next year.
Um, see, just trying to remember the word for year.
You already know agla.
Yeah, I do know.
Year in Hindi is sa.
I can't remember. So,
Okay, very good. Yeah. So how will you say that now? Try.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Try.
Ugly saw.
Very good. मैं अगले, so say it, finish the sentence.
मैं अगले साल पेरिस जाऊंगा.
Beautiful. मैं अगले साल पेरिस जाऊंगा. Beautiful, right? Awesome. If somebody were to say मैं let's say somebody were to say I'll go to Paris at 2 o'clock. Okay, Sharmila ji, at 2 o'clock.
मैं 2 बजे पेरिस जाऊंगी.
Very good, right? So baja is the o'clock, and it's changing into the oblique case baje. मैं 2 बजे, which is 2 o'clock, मैं 2 बजे Paris जाऊंगी. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna erase it. Hopefully you have already written now. We're still on case number 2. Okay. If you were to say I'll go to Paris tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. It's for everyone. You can all write it in chat. Okay, so that way everyone gets the opportunity. I'll go to Paris tomorrow morning. And I request everyone, even if you're watching live on Facebook, I request you to write it down. How would you say I will go to Paris tomorrow morning? So you can use the chat. Okay, tomorrow you know the word. And morning, I'll see if you guys can think about it.
Kal subah.
Very good,
Kal
right?
subah.
Okay, so you can say kal subah, which is tomorrow morning. You can also say, if some of you are familiar with the word savera is morning, but if you were to use that changes into the oblique case called kal savere. Okay, subah, it's the same oblique case, kal subah. Okay, or kal savere, either way is fine. Okay, awesome. So Daniel ji wrote the same thing. Delia wrote the right. All of you wrote the right thing, right? Kal subah or kal savere. Awesome. Tisiniya ji, Nandini ji. Awesome. Awesome. Anyone else? Any questions so far?
Would you ever use agle with subha?
Yeah, you can say that, like agli subah. Agli subah. Okay, because you know subah is considered feminine, so you will say agli subah. I've not heard ugly savere, because that that's or agle savere. It's doesn't sound correct. Okay. Basically, it means the next morning. Right? Um, any questions so far? This is still on category number 2, where you are using the implied. There's an implied postposition. You are not saying it. Okay. Any questions before I jump to the next one, which is case number 3, which is you may or may not use the postposition in the third category. Okay. I'm going to erase this one because I think by now you probably have memorized this. The third category is basically when you're using day and date. When you're talking about a particular day and a particular date, that's when you will end up using postposition, and there are cases where you may not use them. Okay, so and we learned about that, like when, for example, if you want to say I will go to Paris on Monday, okay, and you will say Monday is either you can say मैं Monday को Paris जाऊंगा और जाऊंगी, or you can say मैं सोमवार को Paris जाऊंगा. Okay, similarly you can take any week, right? शनिवार रविवार, or you can mix it up. मैं शनिवार या रविवार, either I'll go to Paris either on Saturday or Sunday. शनिवार या रविवार को पेरिस जाऊंगा और या शनिवार या रविवार को पेरिस जाऊंगी. Okay, so this is your day. Okay, similarly you want to say a particular date on the 13th. Okay, JDG, how will you say that? I will go to Paris on the 13th, which is you're trying to say that this particular date.
I don't know, 13th co, Paris, Jaung.
Chaunga, beautiful. Do you know how to say in Hindi 13th?
No.
Who would you ask in the group?
Delia,
Okay.
put her to work.
Yeah.
माफ कीजिए मैं जानती नहीं.
You both put somebody else to work.
Donna knows.
Donna knows everything.
Yes, I'm G.
Tera?
Tera, very good, right? So Tera. So I'm gonna split it, but it's 13. So it's Te Rah. Okay, it's but Hindi speakers, when they are saying it, they say it fast, and it sounds like the Tera, but it's Te Rah. Okay. Okay, and then the date is called. Okay, so 13 is Tera, and then you want to say on the 13th, the date. Date is
Tariq.
Tariq. Okay, back to you, JDG. You have 13 and you have date also.
Tera Tatik ko Jaunga.
Very good, right? So मैं 13 तारीख को पेरिस जाऊंगा. Okay, मैं 13 तारीख को पेरिस जाऊंगा. Okay, so postposition ko is being used on the 13th. Okay, or if you were to say on the 7th, you will say मैं 7 तारीख को पेरिस जाऊंगा. Okay, so third category, as I said, when you are using a particular day or a date, along with that you used postposition ko. Okay, and this kind of makes it an adverbial phrase. Like this is what makes it like that you are using it as an adverb to give the response of when. Okay, that the person may have asked the question and you're using this as an adverb. Okay, there are more to it. I'm going to erase it, but I want you to write it down in case if somebody is making notes. The most important word that Delacy says that you should remember is दोपहर in the third category, दोपहर, and दोपहर is Mitaji. What is दोपहर in Hindi? What does it mean when you say दोपहर?
the afternoon.
Afternoon. Afternoon. Okay. There are like 8 pahars in a day. I don't know if most of you are already familiar, but pahar is like, each pahar is like about 3 hours. Okay. And when you have 8 pahars, 8 times 3 is 24 hours. So the day is split into 8 pahars. And when you're saying do pahar, that means like the sixth of the hour basically, right? So that's what makes it like afternoon. Okay, so that's why it's do is 2 and pahar is your like the unit do pahar. Okay, do pahar is afternoon. I'm going to erase it. And then what is evening? 3 words to remember for this case number 3. What is evening?
Sham.
um, Sham is evening. And what is night?
Ra-
Raat. So we'll come to it, but when you're using them, as an adverb, you may or may not use the postposition. There are cases where you will use it. You will see the use of postposition with 3 and there are cases where it just basically implied. Okay, that's what will be covered. But I'm going to erase it, and then we'll do the examples where you're using dopeher, sham, and raat, night. In case you were not able to write it down because I was fast, you'll have the time now. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so let's just go over it. So let's say you write this. You want to say this afternoon. I'm going to write this, all of them together. This evening and this night. In parallel to that, if you were to say that afternoon, that evening, and that night. Okay, so I'm assuming some of you already tried thinking how you will say it in Hindi. Okay, how will you say this afternoon? Delia ji?
Is दोपहर?
So this is like today. So for today you will use,
आज दोपहर?
you will say aaj dopeher. Aaj dopeher. And aaj is only serving the purpose to imply it's today, the current date, right? Aaj dopeher. Okay. And similarly, how will you say this evening and this night? Let's see. Radhika ji, how are you doing this evening and this night?
I'm fine, Ashuji.
How is it going?
I'm being a bad student, not coming regularly. Sorry.
It's all good. How will you say this evening?
This evening, how to say that in Hindi, you're asking me. Sorry, wait a minute.
You already know.
आज शाम को और आज शाम.
Very good. Right? Aaj sham. Okay, aaj sham. And this one, this night would be
आज रात.
aaj raat. Okay, and all of them, when you're using it as an adverb, as you already implied, you can use aaj dopeher or you can say aaj dopeher ko. Okay, you can say aaj sham or you can say aaj sham ko. Okay, or you can say aaj raat or aaj raat ko. Okay, so for all of them, like when you're using the previous sentence, if you were to say I'll go to Paris this afternoon, you can say मैं आज दोपहर पेरिस जाऊंगा, आज दोपहर पेरिस जाऊंगी, or you can use आज दोपहर को मैं पेरिस जाऊंगी. Similarly, मैं आज शाम को खाना बनाऊंगा. Okay, और मैं आज शाम को soccer match देखूंगा. I will watch the soccer match this evening. Okay, और मैं आज रात को मूवी देखूंगा. Okay, और आज रात को मैं गाने सुनूंगा. I'll listen to the songs this night. Okay. और मैं आज रात को दोस्तों से मिलूंगा. I will meet with my friends this night. Okay, दोस्तों से मिलूंगा. Any questions on this one so far? Feel free to tell me if I'm going too fast. Okay. Can you make a sentence, Daniel ji, using any of these? A short sentence is fine.
आज मैं आज शाम को रेस्टोरेंट जाऊंगा.
Very good. मैं आज शाम को रेस्टोरेंट जाऊंगा. Awesome. And Tisinia ji, can you make a small sentence?
मैं आज शाम को कसरत करूंगी.
मैं आज शाम को कसरत करूंगी. Amazing. Tom, you want to try it out? And if you need time, that's totally okay. Okay. Vatsala ji, how are you doing?
गुड अशु जी. मैं आज दोपहर को सब्जी मंडी जाऊंगी.
आज मैं दोपहर को आज सब्जी मंडी जाऊंगी. Okay. विद्या जी,
आज रात मैं मूवी देखूंगी.
आज रात को मैं मूवी देखूंगी. Amazing. Okay. So this is referring to current one. That's why you use आज. Vidya ji, how will you say that afternoon?
उस दोपहर को.
Okay. So just like you have this is referring to आज. When you say that, typically that is वह, but you will use the oblique case and you will say उस and then दोपहर. उस दोपहर. But when it is used in the context of a day, you may use उस दिन दोपहर. That, which is basically in English, you will say that afternoon. But when you're translating it in Hindi, you are really saying it is like that day afternoon. And that day is उस दिन. So you're really saying उस दिन दोपहर को. Okay, so instead of us दोपहर, which Hindi speaker will often say that, you will end up saying उस दिन दोपहर को. Okay, so if I were to ask you उस दिन दोपहर आप कहाँ थी, where were you that afternoon? Okay, you can say उस दिन दोपहर में पेरिस में थी. Okay, next one, you want to do it again? That evening, Vidya ji, that evening.
उस दिन शाम को.
Very good. Right. So you will say उस दिन शाम को. This may be hard because you're using multiple words, but remember that day is दिन. Okay, that is वह, but it's used together and basically it becomes an implied उस दिन. And afternoon, दोपहर. So that's why it's like उस दिन दोपहर और उस दिन शाम. Okay, next one also you do it with that night.
क्या? उस दिन रात को.
Very good. उस दिन रात को. Okay, उस दिन रात को. Let's say you have a situation, Vidya ji, you are describing like an incident happened somewhere and you want to say that night police came here. Okay, I want all of you to think, even though I'm asking Vidya ji, but she's describing someone in Hindi that evening or that night police came here.
अच्छा, उस दिन रात को पुलिस यहाँ आई.
Very good, right? So if you were to simply say police came, if you were to simply say police came, you will say police
आई.
Very good. Police आई, because it's used in the past indefinite. Police आई. If I were to ask you police, I will use an adverbial phrase. Police कब आई, or interrogative. Police कब आई. When did the police come? Police कब आई. Okay. You can use any of them. पुलिस दोपहर को आई, आज शाम को आई, आज रात. Okay, assuming that you're already in night, आज रात को आई. Okay, or you're describing in the you know um, um, again, all of them you're describing in the past, right? So you were saying उस दिन दोपहर को आई, उस दिन शाम को आई, or you were saying in this case पुलिस उस दिन रात को आई. Okay, पुलिस उस दिन रात को आई. Okay, I know this can be hard.
Master G, is it I because police is feminine? Is that what's happening?
That is right. Police became feminine. Police is feminine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You want to ask someone, JDG. Let's say you want to ask someone, okay, where were you? Where were you? Okay, I'm gonna write it down so that way you get some more time. Where were you that evening? Where were you that evening? Okay, try it out. It's okay. That's the thing, right?
Abkab. Abkab. Up.
Mm-hmm.
Kab.
Where is where?
Kab. No. Kab. Kaha.
Very good. आप कहाँ?
आप कहा उस दिन शाम को थे.
Very good. आप, if it was simply where were you, you would say आप कहाँ थे.
Hey.
Okay. आप कहाँ थे और आप कहाँ थी, right? Now you have been asked about time, so you will say आप. Okay,
आप
sorry.
कहा उस दिन शाम को थे.
So I made a mistake here. So it's आप कहाँ थे and it'll come before that, right? So try one more time.
आप उस दिन शाम को कहाँ थे.
आप उस दिन शाम को कहाँ थे. Okay. Who are you asking this question? They have to respond.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Let's pick a name. Who are you asking this question?
Aneska.
अनेस्का जी, आप उस दिन शाम को कहाँ थी?
मैं उस दिन शाम को मेरे स्कूल थी.
मैं स्कूल में थी. Beautiful, right? मैं उस दिन शाम को,
मेरे स्कूल में थी.
right? मैं उस दिन शाम को स्कूल में थी. Okay, awesome. Any questions so far?
I have a question. I'm looking at this like it's like us din rock, right?
Yeah.
The us is oblique, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Can you do that? Can you translate that as like the night of or
So this one,
yeah, like Ustine Shamko,
that
that
evening.
night. So that goes into the oblique because it's like the night of that day.
Yes, night of that day.
Okay, so the night of that day, that makes it a post position, and then it goes to us.
That is correct. That's correct.
Okay.
I think if you were to just split it out, even in the previous category, like पिछली रात or पिछले महीने, right? You may again wonder why you are not saying पिछला महीना, why you are not saying पिछले महीने. Okay, same thing, because पिछले महीने is used as an adverbial phrase and there is an implied को, right? Just like that, when you're saying that evening, if it is used as an adverb, you're saying उस दिन, उस दिन शाम को. Okay. By the way, as Vidya ji alluded, Hindi speakers will not necessarily put us din all the time. They'll say us sham or us raat. So you may still see people not using din here. But in academically, you will see the use of din. Academically, this is correct. Spoken wise, people do use casually as well, right? So they may not use din there. Daniel ji, you were also raising your hand.
You just answered my question because I was wondering why the din was there, but now I understand now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's do some more practice on this one. I'm gonna erase it. Okay. Typically, when I give the sentence, I don't give too many interrogatives, but I'll make a table and I ask all of you to think about asking questions more. Okay. So and then the response could be like the answer. So I'm gonna make a table. The idea is like all of you will look at the table and similarly try to make sentences. So I have some columns here. Okay, so I have आज उस दिन. You can change it to anything else also. Okay, you can say 2 तारीख. Okay, पिछले महीने और कल. Okay, hopefully all of you by now know the meaning of everything. आज उस दिन 2 तारीख पिछले महीने और कल. Okay, I have some more word here, which is the 3 keywords I told you. दोपहर, which is afternoon, शाम, which is evening, and रात. Okay, and then you have a bunch of verbs. So verb I'll put it later on. So here you still have pronoun. You can say मैं, आप, हम, वे. Feel free, or you can use a name also. So let's say you sing Delia. Okay, this is an example. You can change it to any other name also. Okay, and then you have a bunch of verbs here. Okay, bunch of verbs, which would be you can put interrogative here. Let's say khana. Okay, so just thinking whether it will work or not. I was thinking that you'll make questions. Then दोपहर को. Okay, so the response would be, as a response you can, I'm going to keep it here. Actually, let me remove this last column because then it becomes the response. Okay, so let's say I'm going to give an example. उस दिन दोपहर को आप, the question could be आप कहाँ थे. उस दिन दोपहर को आप कहाँ थे. Okay, उस दिन दोपहर को आप कहाँ थे. Okay, and the response could be उस दिन दोपहर को मैं, as I think अनिष्का जी mentioned, उस दिन दोपहर को मैं स्कूल में था. Okay, और उस दिन दोपहर को आप क्या कर रहे थे, which is the past continuous. What were you doing that afternoon? And you can say उस दिन दोपहर को और शाम को मैं practice कर रहा था. Okay, so the idea here is like one of you will ask question and you can really ask anyone. Okay, and then they have to respond in the similar format. Okay, so let's say I'll start. Okay, I'm gonna ask Donna ji, 2 तारीख को शाम आप कहाँ थी.
2 तारीख को मैं मूवी में थी.
मूवी देख रही थी. Okay, awesome. You also ask a question now to someone else.
शीला जी, आपने उस दिन रात क्या खाया?
I don't know. I didn't hear the end of it.
क्या खाया?
Yeah, Taya?
क्या खाया?
Yeah, Taya. I'm not sure of what the verb was.
Kana, kaya, past.
Kaya, sorry. My line is not good today. Ustin, rat, I think you said, rat ko me, margmakani kaya.
Khai, you were saying it correctly. Khai. Okay, now your turn, Sheila ji, to ask question to someone.
Oh, right, okay. Mita. उस दिन दोपहर को आप काम करते हैं?
नहीं, उस दिन दोपहर को मैं नाच करी.
Okay, you were saying I was dancing.
Yeah.
Naach? Okay, I was dancing. Okay, मैं नाच रही थी. Okay, awesome. You ask the question now.
Okay. Aneshka ji, आज शाम को आप क्या खाता है? आपका क्या खाता है?
क्या करेंगे? क्या? Okay. आज शाम को मैं मैं दोस्त मिलेंगे.
Okay, मैं दोस्त से मिलूंगी. Awesome, awesome.
दोस्त
You
से
ask.
मिलेंगे.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh boy, who is here? Everybody's here. Christina ji, are you here?
हाँ.
अच्छा. आज दोपहर आप कहाँ थे? Or actually, yeah, कहाँ, not थे, कहाँ है?
आज दोपहर मैं घर पर हूँ.
Beautiful. Your turn now.
Tom?
Mhm.
Tom है.
जी हाँ.
आज शाम को आप क्या खाएंगे?
आज शाम को मैं pharmacy kaya.
Beautiful. Your turn.
Oh, who can I ask? JD, may I ask you, please?
Anji.
Kal, शाम को कहाँ जाऊंगा?
Okay. कल शाम को आप कहाँ जाएंगे?
So, Kal, Kal, I don't use these though. I just use Kal.
Mhm.
Kal me Paris jaunga.
Beautiful. Your turn.
So I have to ask somebody something.
Yes.
Where's Vidya?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
Aj Shamko up Kya karate te?
आज शाम को मैं एक किताब पढ़ रही थी.
Okay.
याद है जयदी?
What?
अच्छा,
Yes. Okay. Your turn now, Vijay ji.
राधिका जी, Is Radhika here?
Yeah, I think.
हाँ, राधिका जी, उस दिन दोपहर को आप किसके साथ थी?
विद्या जी, उस दिन दोपहर में मेरा फ्रेंड के साथ थे और साथ आई।
साथ थी. Beautiful.
साथ
Yeah. Your turn now. Yes, Radhika ji, you ask now.
Oh,
this time.
I have to ask somebody. Who is today? Is there to pick? Sharmila ji. Ashu ji, you are blocking the board, please.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Please,
Which sorry.
पिछले महीने शाम को आप
It sounds incorrect. So पिछले महीने I have to probably put a specific date. पिछले महीने 3 तारीख.
no, sorry. Yeah. पिछले महीने from there, isn't it? आप क्या कर रहे
Okay, very good.
कर रहे थे?
Okay, very good.
पिछले महीने मैं रात को हिंदी कक्षा हर रात को हिंदी कक्षा में जाती थी।
पिछले महीने में हर रात हिंदी क्लास में जा रही थी. Beautiful. Your turn.
तो सुजान यहाँ है। So सुजान, कल सुबह आप क्या कर रहे थे?
Beautiful.
कर रही थी?
अरे कल सुबह क्या रही थी?
क्या कर रही थी?
ओके, अच्छा. कल सुबह is I don't have to put in din, right? So that's just it. Kal subah. Kal subah मैं अपने कक्षा का परीक्षा दिया.
दे रही थी. You're about to say दे रही थी, which is correct, right? पिछली
दे रही थी. Yes, दे रही थी. Sorry.
Okay.
So my turn to ask someone.
Yeah.
Tasina ji, namaste.
Namaste ji.
2 तारीख. If I'm using 2 तारीख, would I have to say का दिन or के दिन?
Just use it 2 तारीख को. It's okay. 2 तारीख को.
2 तारीख को कहाँ जाएगी?
2 तारीख को
आप कहाँ जाएगी?
मैं 2 तारीख को पुस्तकालय जाऊंगी.
पुस्तकालय is library. So मैं 2 तारीख को लाइब्रेरी जाऊंगी और पुस्तकालय जाऊंगी. Beautiful. Okay.
I have to ask now.
Yes, you can ask now.
Barbara ji?
Barbara ji.
Yes.
आप आज रात को
Okay, आप आज रात को
मैं आज रात
Allora, मैं आज रात indie movie de देखूंगी.
Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. You said, मैं आज रात को हिंदी मूवी देखूंगी. And what does it mean?
I will watch an indie movie. Okay,
आज रात को, right? This night. Amazing. Okay.
this evening. Right.
Yes. And your turn now, Barbara ji.
Allora, Delia जी पिछले महीने क्या कर रहे थे?
पिछले महीने मैंने काम किया.
पिछले महीने मैंने बहुत काम किया.
बहुत.
Anyone who hasn't had a chance would like to, because some of you are in the listening only mode, so I want to be respectful, and I don't want to put any pressure. But anybody who hasn't had a chance but want to share, you can just simply share some sentences that you may have practiced. Even if it is repetitive, that's okay, because it's still a good thing. Feel free to unmute. Okay, right. Right. So basically, it's just to summarize everyone, like these were the three ways, these time-based adverbs are categorized. Okay, and that's my goal, or the ask for all of you is basically as in homework. When you do the practice sessions, try to use this as much as possible, because this will become natural to you, and you don't have to think many times, like, because it can be a source of confusion, right? Like, when to use postposition versus not. But just as you saw it when you were asking each other question, it was coming naturally, like aaj sham ko or pichli raat ko or pichle mahine, right? It was coming very naturally. You were not thinking, without thinking it was coming, right? So that's the same thing you have to do in the practice sessions. Try to use it as much as possible, right? And then try to ask and respond also, right? So we'll stop the broadcast here. And so for folks who watched live on Facebook, thank you so much. In the next class, we'll start a new chapter, chapter 12 of Elementary Hindi by Professor Richard Delacy. If you're interested in joining the live sessions, you all are welcome. You can get all the details on the tiny.cc Hindi University page. Okay, so I'll stop the broadcast, and